SLA News 12 starts now.
Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Destiny Patterson. Let's get right into it. Greenwood police are looking for this missing girl. This is 15-year-old Kyra Wilson. She was last seen last night around 10 p.m. at her home in Greenwood. Wilson is 5 feet 7 inches with brown hair and gray eyes. If you know where she may be, please contact your local law enforcement agency or the Greenwood Police Department. An Alabama woman who's been diagnosed with early onset dementia has disappeared from Margaritaville Resort Casino in Bossier City. Police say 46-year-old Tanis Lynn Davis was last seen around noon Saturday by her fiance. Davis is 5 feet 4 inches and weighs about 140 pounds. She has blonde hair and blue eyes, as you see here in this picture. No clothing description has been provided yet. Authorities urge anyone with any information about Davis to call Bossier City Police.
Well, good evening, everyone. As we get ready to head into the work week, got some good news, but before we get there, temperatures are going to drop very cold. We're actually looking to get below freezing right now, not just there yet, but we're looking at temperatures currently in Shreveport at 40 degrees. It's 44 right now in Texarkana, upper 30s for Idabel, mid 30s right now for DeQueen. It's 34 in Marshall, Texas, 38 over in Natchitoches. Overnight tonight, though, we're really going to see those temperatures drop, and most areas looking to be in the upper 20s, 26 for DeQueen. 30 in Shreveport and Texarkana, upper 20s for Marshall, Texas, around 27, 29 in Minden, 28 in Coshada. As we head into the overnight hours, these temperatures will fall, and we also could see for the early part of Monday morning some patchy freezing fog. We'll talk a little bit about what that means coming up in your full forecast. But the good news is that the next couple of mornings, temperatures are actually going to be on the increase, and we're actually going to be warming up a little bit more towards that average low of 44 degrees as we head into the beginning of March. We'll talk a little bit more about your forecast and what to expect in the work week coming up.
New at 5:30, we now know the name of the woman that was killed in a car crash last night. The Cano Coroner's Office says 71-year-old Melinda Marshall died at the hospital. The crash happened around 11:30 at East Burke-Coons Industrial Loop and East Kings Highway. The crash is still under investigation. 2 people were shot a little after midnight in Shreveport. This was in the 2900 block of Meadow Avenue in the Sunset Acres neighborhood. A man and a woman were hit in what police describe as a drive-by shooting. We're told their injuries are not life-threatening. No suspect information has been released yet. The CDC is relaxing its mask recommendations for school children as the number of COVID-19 cases continue to drop. Universal masking is now only recommended for schools in areas with high community-wide infection rates. That applies to about 28% of Americans. The CDC says prevention strategies in schools have been effective and children face a lower risk of infection. Now public health officials can say school masking policies should be similar to mask guidance for the general public. According to 2 new studies, COVID-19 may have actually started in a wet market in Wuhan, China. The research shows that COVID had its origin in a live animal in the market in late 2019. But instead of a bat, as previously thought, it was more than likely a Chinese raccoon dog or a similar sized mammal. It should be pointed out, though, that neither article has been published in a peer-reviewed medical journal. The Mardi Gras celebrations are not over. In fact, they're just getting started. You can see partygoers are enjoying themselves in the Big Easy. Oh, you can see all the beads and stuff on the ground as people are walking around out there. Louisiana State Troopers are also on the ground in New Orleans to keep people safe. They gathered for the annual roll call and they've been patrolling along parade routes. NOPD Chief Sean Ferguson thanked troopers for helping out.
Partnership has continued to exist, as he said, over 50 years. So right now it's about, we had a very successful first weekend. It's about getting through this second weekend, which we know we're expecting a larger crowd this upcoming weekend. My message has been what it has been to my team. Be professional at all times. Be patient, because people have had, it's been bottled in for the last 2 years. They've been waiting for this moment. So be patient. And most of all, continue to be vigilant.
100 state troopers are in the city, which is about 60 fewer troopers than normal. The state police say the slight decrease is due to a manpower shortage. And some of you have been sending us some of your photos from the Mardi Gras weekend. I mean, just look at that. This looks like it's from one of the parades this weekend. You can see that the team is out there, as well as the mask here. I mean, Mardi Gras is just such a fun time. Remember that you can submit your own photos of you celebrating the Mardi Gras season by going to the Submit Photos page on the KSLA website. Now make sure that you grab that phone too and scan the QR code that you see on your screen. We set up a special page on our KSLA News 12 app. That's where you'll find details on all of the parades and the events happening in the Arklatex. Now, there's also a few days left to crown the King of King Cakes. Head on over to arklatexweekend.com, and once you're there, you'll find the King of King Cake Challenge under the Food and Drinks tab. We're in the final. It looks like it's Lila's against Southern Maid. Really tough choices there. The king will be crowned on Fat Tuesday, March 1st.
Mr. Herbert Webb was my principal at Eden Gardens, and on the day that we got ready to go over, he walked out, and you can probably tell, I like being with the principal, I like being with staff. He said to me, he said, Mary, he wouldn't turn around. He kept his back to me. He said, Mary, when you go over there, don't look back. He said, when you get on the bus, he said, don't look back. He said, just keep your eyes focused on where you're going and what you got to do. And that's what we did.
Now, you probably know this school right here as Caddo Middle Magnet in Cedar Grove, but it once was called Eden Gardens High School. In tonight's Black History Moment, I introduce you to 5 Caddo Parish graduates whose class almost got erased from history during integration. And in a matter of days, they were transitioned from the all-black Eden Gardens Junior-Senior High School to Captain Shreve in 1970.
You'll find out that making a transition from a place that you love to a place that you go that you're so insecure, you're guarding yourself in the way that you respond to things that happen on the campus. On our day of arrival, the sign that we met and read on the campus was go home and you can figure out the rest of the sentence.
I get kind of overwhelmed.
This is my first time coming back here. It's been 52 years since we set foot here.
The graduating class of 1970 went through school together, but that's not all.
I knew integration was inevitable, but to make us leave from April to May, it kind of hurt us a whole lot.
With merely weeks left in their senior year of high school,
we went over there in April and graduated in May.
the students wanted parish leaders to know.
I want to be at Eden Gardens, not at Captain Shreve.
We wanted to complete our 2 months here.
We actually started here in Cedar Grove and we marched as a group all the way to downtown Shreveport.
And none of that worked.
I felt lost. I felt like nobody was fighting for us.
They waited around too late to try to get it integrated in 70, so they had to rush us through. They had to make it happen in 70, so we were the ones that had to make it happen.
It was leaving home to go somewhere I knew nothing about.
And with nothing to show for it but each other.
And the separation is quite clear. You see all the other names are in alphabetical order. Then you get over to our names, they're not even in alphabetical order.
We got a little memory book, but we don't have a yearbook.
These are my classmates.
The class of transition.
The transition for us was overwhelming for some. And for others like myself, it taught me a whole lot.
We would try to hold on to each other.
And to lean on each other.
We made it through.
Now, in order to keep their own legacy alive, those graduates have created a memory book with index cards with each of their names.
When we come back, we'll talk about the warming trend headed to the Argos Hex and what to expect as we head into the beginning of March.
And fighting continues in Ukraine as reports of fierce resistance are surfacing. We have that story and more when we get back.